You come bearing information. Time for maybe a conversation.
Hey, folks.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any more cups down here?
I can loan you my cup, but I would like it back.
Okay. Yeah, I just want like a little bit of coffee.
Here, go, dude.
Can I film it? Film your information?
Yeah, what do you got?
Thank you.
We're trying to gather.
David's gonna steal it.
We have important information for you if you want to take a time out.
What cool game were they playing?
We knew your girls were going to be wizards.
Okay, that's fine.
So, are people up to speed on the situation with the arbitrator?
No.
Okay.
That we are waiting for him? That's where we are at.
Yes.
There's more to it.
That we're waiting for him and that we need to have all 3 gates continue to be blockaded, so it's really good that you all are here because we need to have a presence here at this gate, so that's good. That person is on their way. That should be resolved within the next hour. If y'all just stay here and keep doing what you're doing, that's great. I think games are an excellent way to create the kind of chaos that will make them.
Thank you, Dave.
We're having
Actually,
fun,
you have
which
to
is
be here by 9.
revolutionary. Yes, Dad, you have to be here by 9. Yes, question.
You can have a ball.
People were wondering what it looks like at the other gates because it's a little lonely over here. And we're
It's
just hoping
very
to get a
lonely
sense of
over
kind
here.
of-
It's a little lonely over here. The other gates are much more well staffed.
The orcs are holding down.
It's very important that those gates have more people based upon those being the main entrances. So, though it would be awesome to go join them, you're doing something really important here, holding down this one.
Yeah, skeletons.
Yeah, skeleton crew.
Whoa, yeah.
All right.
What's up, recognize?
So, the second thing, so that's just number 1. We got number 2 here. Number 2 is a pretty big deal, actually.
Big deal, number 2. Big deal.
Big deal.
Number 2.
There was an agreement, if folks could, there was an agreement made by all of the different occupies that were blockading that if there was severe police repression and violence, that we would continue this action going forward into the next day. In Seattle, they attacked the protesters with tear gas, pepper spray.
Shit, they gassed them today?
In Houston, they also attacked the protesters.
Shit.
So there's been a call. There's been a call for us to continue something tomorrow. So the first question is: do people want to do that? Do people want to do something tomorrow in solidarity with the folks there? Are there questions? There's a couple questions or some comments.
Okay. I'm not sure what the. I don't know what I'm doing with the hands. I didn't bring sleeping gear.
We're not talking about staying here.
Okay.
We're just talking about right now if we want to do something
out.
tomorrow. In solidarity, given that this violence happened.
Yes.
There's a second thing down here first though.
In Seattle, in addition to tear gas, there have been flashbang grenades.
That's
And a lot of
ludicrous,
arrests.
dude. Because Seattle is such a violent town.
So
All those introverted Microsoft
So hold on.
folks.
So for folks that haven't been part of some of the Occupy Portland General Assemblies, we're using this twinkles just to show support. Can I see if people are interested in doing this thing tomorrow in solidarity?
Yes.
Interested/able.
And able.
Yeah, also important that you'd be able.
But interested is important. Once we talk about the action ideas, we can see what people would be able for.
Oh yeah, like what time, man?
So that's the next question. So I saw people want to do something tomorrow. Is that what
Yes.
people saw?
Yes.
So then the second question is, what do we do? So we, just as a point of information, we've already had this conversation at the second gate, the middle gate. This conversation is happening simultaneously at the third gate, and we're also having it right now here. The ideas that were put forward at the second gate were to blockade a terminal again, or because we don't have a lot of capacity, a lot of us are tired, we've been up all day, this action took a shit ton of time to organize. Another idea that came about was to do an action at the EGT office. They're the multinational grain corporation that is the issue in Longview. They have an office in the World Trade Center, downtown Portland. So the idea that was put out was the other option was to do something there, an action there to shut that down at noon tomorrow, with the message also that this is because of the violence that happened in these other cities. That's what the second gate was into. I want to see what people think here. If you have different ideas, questions, we can take some folks. Yeah.
Would that split us up too much if we tried to both occupy this and that place? Or are you trying to suggest that we do one or the other?
It was a one or the other conversation over there. They were like, let's just go tomorrow and shut down the EGT office.
Okay. I'm in favor of occupying the ports again. That's my 2 cents. I don't know about anybody else.
Other comments or questions?
I have a comment.
We got 1, 2, and then 3 here.
I'm not from here and I'm going back to Eugene tomorrow, but I think like this is kind of a weird action for me, and I think it is to a lot of people because like it is actually stopping people from going to work who aren't necessarily like haven't consent to like strike or anything like that at all. So like the fact of going to the office, that idea I think is a lot better because you're actually going to like the 1%. You're going to the people that are making decisions, that are harming people. You're not pissing off a bunch of like workers, you know. So like I think you should target that shit.
So we got 2 and then 3 and then there's more folks.
Okay, I would just say that if we are going to target another port, we might think about the other SSA Marine Terminal in Northwest Portland as a target, just because it's closer to downtown and there's one of them, and it's owned by Goldman Sachs. But that would be my 2 cents.
It would be a lot
Terminal 2.
more difficult to shut that down. We would need to start earlier in the day. Doing it at noon, I think, would just be symbolic at best. Which is not to say that we couldn't do it earlier in the day. But it seems like shutting down the port would just be a lot more effective. Yeah.
Effective for other comments people haven't spoken?
I think that the issue that we're dealing with here is a solidarity action, and so I think that given the most likely capacity and numbers that we'll have tomorrow, an office action makes a little bit more sense than
Because
trying
it's
to
one
take
place.
a port again.
Yeah,
because it's one
actually.
place, it's logistically easier.
Right.
And it's downtown. Made it today that won't be able to make it tomorrow.
Other
One
comments?
spot versus
You
spreading
haven't
out.
asked
It's already
something
going to
yet,
be
yeah?
a lessened crowd.
Wait, where's Rumors going?
Whoa,
Before he goes, I want more.
Logistically, yeah, having to get people here, for something at, 7:30, it seems unlikely. But if we're talking about an office action, what's the likelihood that we'll actually be able to shut the office down? It seems like here there's the arbitrator, the way things go with that. It's more likely you can actually shut it down. I mean, it's just something I'm putting out there. I'm not saying we have the numbers to do this, but it would be a different type of action.
And then I got a point of information on that.
Yeah, sure.
So this is a kind of a point of information too, which is this is the tweet from Occupy the Port that I think is kind of the instigation for this whole discussion, which it says, if there is any, capitalized, police violence on D12, we will extend the port shutdown. Pound Occupy Oakland, Pound Occupy LA, Pound Occupy Seattle, Pound Occupy Portland, Pound Occupy Wall Street. So this tweet does specifically say
The ports.
that we would extend the port shutdown. So that's just a piece of information for you again. I mean, my personal view is, again, I think that Northwest Portland port, there's one of them. We might be able to shut it down similar to how we shut it down today and make kind of both people happy. But the office action is another option.
So let me do a point of information here, and then I wanted to ask a question. The point of information is that, on November 17th, we shut down, at least 8, probably more than
That
a
was a
dozen
radical
banks
day.
across the city. The bike swarm did a bank action leaving in Woodstock, where 15 bikers shut down 10 different banks, just biking from bank to bank. Police went with them as they got to each bank. Literally 15 bikers. They locked the doors to the bank. So
So we can show you.
So that's just point of information. The question I want to ask though is what can we actually do? Do people think that we can I mean that's I think something we should be thinking about in all this. Maybe just to see kind of where we're at. How many people are interested in the EGT thing? Do a little twinkle if that's kind of where you're leaning now. How many people are leaning towards the kind of port doing something and blockading the ports again?
Check wise, what has been the capacity to actually go tomorrow? Do you know what the other groups have said?
The middle group was into doing EGT overwhelmingly, and about, I don't know, there was probably 80 people participating in the conversation. I'd say half said they could be there. So let me see the ports again though. I don't think we got the people that want to do ports more into the ports. So I'm only seeing a few.
What's this? I'm still conflicted, and it's that while the EGT is a nice centralized location, it's not in solidarity with the port movement. Not to say that they're not going to appreciate what we're doing, but it does deviate from the semi-national plan. But again, where I'm conflicted with that is, will we have the numbers to maintain the port presence tomorrow? So I'm totally torn right now. I can twinkle at both and miss at both. You know what I mean?
So I got a couple comments here.
As far as numbers, I think as many people that will not be able to come out tomorrow, there may just as well be as many people who could not come out today who can come out tomorrow. Myself included, I only showed up here for the 4 o'clock. And I'll be able to go all day tomorrow.
The only question that I had is, the issue of solidarity was raised, and so if the issue of solidarity, how many other ports are going to be occupied tomorrow? And if other ports are not going to be occupied, then do we have to maintain a sense of solidarity with something that is going to be an isolated action?
Do we have any idea about what the other cities are doing?
So I have some information on that. I only know of Occupy Oakland doing that. They had a turnout of 12,000 today. They are talking about doing that. The only other ports that were shut down today, like Marsburg and Oakland, only Oakland and Portland, the only two major ports are actually shut down fully all day long. So do people think we have, I only saw some support for the port thing. I want to guess maybe hear from y'all, or do people feel like we have to pull that off? I think that's one of the major questions here. Like, is it even an option that we have on the table?
I have,
So you haven't asked for it.
well, with the thing downtown, are you going to just shut down the whole World Trade Center, or how do you occupy just one office in it?
Yeah, what is victory there?
Do people have some thoughts on that? We're into that idea, kind of, and then we can take the rest of the step?
Can I give you just what we got?
At the main
Occupations down.
Yeah.
Dave had very lukewarm feelings about World Trade Center. It was just
Whoever's sound thing that is.
We're still
I
discussing.
know, sorry guys. It's two-way radio interference. Sorry to interrupt.
So, other thoughts or comments? Yeah. And then, how about back here for since you haven't spoken yet?
I was just going to say that, today I think we proved that it takes maybe 200, maybe 300 people to shut down a single terminal. And I understand that we got a lot of planning. There's actually a lot of promotion. But like this guy said also, there's a lot of people who watched today and saw what happened that I think may be inspired by it, maybe it happened. And then maybe if they were scared to come on the first week, they thought there might be union protest or violence or something like that. I don't know if it's pull-offable for sure, but to me, I think there's a chance of shutting down one terminal. And I guess there's more questions to ask, like, are there any ships actually coming in? What does this really look like? But I guess my own personal view is that it's pull-offable. I didn't have much faith actually that this was going to get pulled off. I'm sure guys would come down and cover it anyway, but it got pulled off.
So,
anyway,
you real quick and then.
Well, I was just going to say it doesn't have to be as big as today. We shut down a lot today. And if we only had a quarter who showed up today, we would still be able to shut down one terminal. So I concur that I think we could do it if that's what we want to do.
So we got here and then you and then you.
I'd kind of like to see a temp check of like people who would be there shutting down a port tomorrow and people who would be there in an office tomorrow. I mean, not support for it, but like I would be there.
So who would be there if we went to shut down the port again? Yeah, the time, we don't know the time, but it's most of the time to each other. What about at the office tomorrow, like noonish?
I would be able to do either. It's just a matter of hand.
And who has time to put energy into turning people out to the port, which is more difficult? Do you have time between now and whenever it is tomorrow to work on this? Anyone? Okay, let's finish. There's other people that were one Facebook and it's you, and then over there, Pete.
I'd just like to point out that logistically,